And welcome back to another daily devotion. I am Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and this devotion is for Tuesday, April 16th of 2024. We're in the Gospel of Mark, and today we are at chapter 16. We're going to look at verses 1 to 8, and depending on what you believe to be the proper ending of Mark's Gospel, remember I mentioned there are 4 alternate endings for Mark's Gospel, so if you believe that the abrupt ending is the correct ending to Mark's Gospel, we're done today. But please listen to the rest of them. Tomorrow we'll look at verses 9 through 20, which is called the long ending of Mark's Gospel, and then we'll look at the other 2 variants after that. We may or may not go into Friday to finish up Mark's Gospel. We'll see whether I get it all done on Thursday or not. I'm not sure. We'll see. But at any rate, I won't be putting up videos next week. Just so you know, the 22nd to the 26th of April 2024, I won't be putting up any videos because I'm going to be away either traveling to or from Decatur, Illinois for the Disciple Heritage Fellowship. And so that will take up much of my week next week, other than Monday and Friday, which I'm just going to go ahead and take those days off. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll wrap up and travel to or from the conference. If you happen to be from the Stone Campbell a Heritage Church group, a denomination or non-denomination, because Christian churches are non-denominational traditionally. The Disciples of Christ became a denomination, which was kind of crazy. If, at any rate, I digress. If you're interested in this conference, it's the Disciple Heritage Fellowship. That's a great group of people. A lot of good training, a lot of good conversation, a lot of good stuff there. In my opinion, it's one of the better conferences I've been to in my days as pastor. I enjoy it a great deal. Thus, we're going to go to Decatur next week. So, at any rate, long story short, don't look for a new video next week. Take a break. Then we'll be back with Philippians, I believe. And then I've got some ideas for what we'll do once we get done with Philippians. All right, without further ado, Mark's Gospel, chapter 16, verses 1 to 8. And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, bought spices so that they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week they went to the tomb when the sun had risen. And they were saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the door of the tomb?" And looking up they saw that the stone was rolled back. It was very large. And entering the tomb they saw a young man sitting on the right side, dressed in a white robe. And they were amazed. And he said to them, "Do not be amazed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him? But go tell his disciples and Peter that he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him, as he told you." And they went out and fled from the tomb, for trembling and astonishment had come upon them. And they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. Okay. Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Salome, are taking spices to anoint Jesus' body. Remember that Joseph of Arimathea had quickly taken him down from the cross because the Sabbath was rapidly approaching. He didn't have much time. Immediately, as Mark's Gospel likes to say, they didn't have much time, so they had to get him. He had to get him into the tomb because you can't be working on the Sabbath. And so once the Sabbath time hits, traditionally we say sundown, but it's actually not exactly sundown. It's more like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And he had to hurry up and get that done, no matter whether the distance was close by, as we talked about on the other videos. I believe yesterday's video or maybe on Friday's video. But at any rate, I digress. So they're going to anoint the body. They are going to deal with this. Again, in the Jewish tradition, they don't mummify, they don't embalm. They put the body in the tomb and they let the body decay in the tomb on a stone slab. Then they come back about a year later and they disarticulate the dried out and decayed body, put the bones in an ossuary in a stone box, and then the stone ossuary is placed up on the shelf in the tomb, and that way you can entomb multiple individuals. You can have a whole family in one tomb, though we know the tomb for Jesus, we are told, is a new tomb that nobody had been laid in before, so he's the only guy in there. But nonetheless, in order to, even though you got a big stone in front of it, in order to try to minimize the stench, what you're going to have, I don't see how they're really going to minimize it much, to be quite blunt. They would bring spices and whatnot and anoint the body to try to minimize this smell that would come from this decaying body. So anyway, that's what they're going to do. But they've not taken anybody with them to roll the stone away. It seems like lack of forethought, doesn't it? And so they're debating, who's going to roll the stone away? What are we going to do? They get there and the stone is rolled away already. Excuse me. And they encounter this mysterious figure inside the tomb, this man dressed in a white robe. A young man dressed in a white robe. Now, some people believe that, remember back when Jesus was arrested in the garden, there was a young man there that was wearing just a linen cloth, a sheet, and the Romans, or the Capitol Guard or the temple guards, can't talk right, temple guards tried to grab him, apparently, and grabbed a hold of the sheet, and he ran away and naked. And some people will like to think that this is the same guy, and that he's angelic, because in both instances he's an angelic figure. Now, other people throw shade, if you will, or discount. Well, what, in Mark's gospel, it's not an angel, so this is why is it that way in the others? It's an angel. He's not making him out to be this really grand angelic figure, but Mark doesn't really do that. An angel is a messenger from God. He is, and you may encounter an angelic figure in your life that may be truly a human being. As far as I'm concerned, you can get angelic messages, godly messages from anyone. Whoever this is, I believe he's an angelic figure. Long story short, whatever. I'm not sure that really matters, to be quite blunt. At any rate, so he tells them, why are you looking for Jesus here? He told you back in chapter 14, by the way, in Mark, to go meet him in Galilee. And he had told you many times. Now, some people say that there's no story, or there's no resurrection story if you stop here. But Jesus told us 3 times in chapters 8, 9, and 10. All 3 times he's told them that he's going to rise again on the 3rd day, and this is the 3rd day, counting Friday, partial day Friday, Saturday, partial day Sunday. This is the 3 days. It's not 3 whole days. It's a fraction of 3 days. 3 days, not the entirety of 3 days or that many hours, whatever. So he's told him he's going to raise again, and by golly, he's done it. He is resurrected. He's not here. He went on to Galilee. And then we've got this. Okay, so they don't go and tell. Well, remember. And how do we have the rest of how do we have Christianity? How do we have this story, for crying out loud? Yes, they didn't. Nobody was told, because these women are afraid. Well, back in chapter 14, he told them he's going to meet them in Galilee. By golly, Peter may have remembered. He told Peter that. So it's very likely that he did remember. That would be the reason why we would accept this as it is. With that, we'll talk more about the long ending again tomorrow. Then we'll talk about those 2 alternate endings. Then we'll talk more about what are the advantages, disadvantages, the pros, the cons, what have you, of these 4 different variants. 2 of them we're probably going to toss out pretty much immediately. But the short ending, or rather the abrupt ending, which is what we just talked about, verse 8, that would constitute what scholars would call the abrupt ending of Mark, or the long ending at chapter 20. To be continued. Have a blessed day. I'm sorry for the rant. I'm in kind of a ranting mood this week. Have a blessed day. Be a blessing to someone today. If you like these devotions, come on back again. We'd love to see you again. Like and subscribe. Make a kind comment if you feel so inclined. But most of all, just be a blessing to someone today. And remember, God loves you. All right. Take care. God bless. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.